Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, a grim discovery in an upscale neighborhood. And just hours earlier, a British man is murdered at a popular tourist attraction. The president of BEC's managerial union fears job losses with a power secure takeover. The IAAF World Relays kick off, but before the races have even been run, the Bahamas sets its own record with the weather. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. An early morning walk in an affluent New Providence community turned into a shocking discovery for several people this morning after the partially clothed body of a young mother was discovered slumped next to a tree with a nylon stocking tied around her neck on Skyline Drive. Jasmine Brown was at the scene. She filed this report.
Police say a group walking in the area made the gruesome discovery just after dawn this morning. Police say she was discovered shortly after 6:30 this morning at an intersection just a few hundred feet from the home of former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pinling.
We had a group of persons doing a walkathon in this area doing the morning exercise when they encountered the body of a female hanging from a tree here on Skyline Drive.
Police have not yet identified the woman. However, we understand she is 27-year-old Jade Sanders. She was found kneeling with her head resting against a small tree trunk. A stocking was tied around her neck and was attached to a low-hanging thin branch. Roll says shortly after she was discovered, a man and a child went to the nearby Cable Beach police station to report his girlfriend missing. Based on the description, Roll says police believe the woman he was describing was the same woman who was found hanging.
We believe that the description which he gave fits this individual, and the male had gone into the station with a young child along with him. And so we are going to be looking at that to try and bring some resolve.
Roll says police have not classified this case and are exploring all possibilities at this point. When asked how long he believes Sanders had been there, Roll said rigor mortis had not set in, so police estimate she had been there less than 9 hours.
Rigor mortis not set in as yet.
Do you think you know how long it's been there or not?
Well, rigor mortis starts to set in anywhere from 9 to 12 hours, so the rigor mortis is not in, so we know it's not that long.
As police and crime scene investigators combed the scene this morning collecting evidence, curious residents looked on. One resident who did not want to appear on camera said he glimpsed the woman as he was driving by earlier, but thought she was only resting on the side of the road. Meantime, Roll says police have made no arrests in the case, but investigations continue. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And police are also investigating the death of a British man who was gunned down last night on a yacht that was docked at Stuart Cove. Police say the British national was killed during a botched armed robbery. Chief Superintendent Paul Roll says it all unfolded at around 10 last night when two gunmen barged into a security booth at the world-famous dive resort and tied up the security guard on duty. Roll says the men demanded cash from the security officer.
In the process, the security officer was able to get away from the men and ran towards the rear of the building where the marina is located.
Once in the marina area, Roll says the security officer saw two other masked gunmen talking to the British victim as he was standing on a yacht that was docked at the marina.
He could not hear what they were saying, but as he try to get away from the assailants, he heard reports of 2 gunshots. He then observed the males running away from the property and west along the street.
As the 4 suspects fled the scene, Rolls says the security officer went to check on the victim, who was also an employee of Stuart Cove's. That's when he discovered he had been fatally shot. Rolls says EMS personnel were called to the scene and pronounced the victim dead. While police have not released the identity of the victim, Rolls said the British national had been living in the Bahamas for several years. He appealed to anyone with information on this murder to contact police at 919 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. In other news, government's decision to select American energy company Power Secure to take over management at BEC caused a proverbial sigh of relief by many throughout the capital. But that announcement was just the beginning. Now government must begin negotiations with that company before it can be determined if a contract will be signed with the energy giant. Well, as much as the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union can do to ensure ink meets paper, President Paul Maynard says it will be done. The deal is certainly not finalized, and it's a far cry away from the promises government made to privatize the cash-strapped corporation, but Maynard said it's a solution to the energy crisis in the Bahamas.
The union welcomes, the union has been waiting since 2012 for this move to occur. And whatever we have to do to make it work, we'll do to make it work. I know that the PM and the DPM has made it clear to Power Secure that if you were paying $1,000 last year for your bill, they expect when this process is over that you'll be paying $500. All right. So that's a 50% reduction. That's what they've made it clear. The union intends to work with the company to achieve that goal. We need to. All right, because we pay light bills as well.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis announced the government selected Power Secure International to manage the transmission, distribution, and generation of electricity at BEC. Maynard said the union is taking an apolitical stance on the decision, but said he's comfortable with it. The move, however, would mean major changes at the corporation and could result in job losses. But the union chief said the Prime Minister made it very clear to him that there won't be massive job cuts.
We're very concerned about that, but I mean, we're not backing away from it. I mean, you know, I understand that the government's view on it is they need to have as little job losses as possible. All right, so with that in mind, we go in there and we do what we have to do. I mean, you know, we're not going to back away from it. You know, see, this is my view as the president. In a point, I'm on Bay Street demonstrating, right, when I can be at the table negotiating. I made a promise to him that if I'm on Bay Street demonstrating, he knows about it, and he has me there. All right. I've told him that, you know, if it's a problem that's too great, I'm coming to him, and I expect him to deal with it. All right, and so far he's lived up to his part of the bargain.
Referring to the actions taken by union leaders leading up to the sale of the Bahamas Telecommunications Company in 2011, Maynard said he won't make any threats against the company before negotiations begin. That's not to say he won't look out for the best interest of the more than 1,000-strong union membership. Maynard said if voluntary separation packages are offered, they have to be worthwhile for his members.
I don't want to say at this time, Paige, because I don't know what the company has forward. See, we have a membership in BEC that is, a lot of us have been there over 20 years. All right. I take instructions from the membership. I need to sit down with them and get their feelings on how they want to go about it. I know what a lot of them have told me. A lot of them say to me, all right. But now, the quote unquote white man is here. You know, you hear about the white man coming. Now that the white man is here, quote unquote. You now is where the road meets the rubber. So you know, I need to sit down with them and see what their needs are.
While government has not indicated which approach to renewable energy Power Secure would be providing if it takes over management at BEC. A big part of the company's offerings is energy efficiency. Power Secure's website highlights 4 major energy efficient designs that include smart grid monitoring, IDG biofuel capable systems, Power Secure solar photovoltaic systems, and state-of-the-art LED lighting systems. Maynard said while the union was not involved in the decision-making process, he's confident that the union influenced government's decision to choose a company that could provide the kind of energy solutions specific to the country's needs.
I think we were able to convince the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister that, there got to be a change of fuel and there got to be a change of equipment at BEC. The status quo cannot continue. It's ancient, the stuff we have. Bringing stuff in like the stuff we have, the equipment we have, bringing equipment from Europe or wherever, like the equipment we have, it'll last for that a year or two, but then in 5 to 6 to 7 years, you'll be back in the same position you're in. So, let's not go down that road anymore. Let's go to the modern technology, the natural gas plants or the propane plants or whatever. That's the way to go.
The statement from the DPM said the selection of Power Secure is subject to the negotiation and finalization of the management contract, although the major terms of that contract have already been agreed upon. Well, tonight the eyes of the world are on the Bahamas for the opening of the International Association of Athletic Federations World Relays 2015 at the National Stadium. The races kick off in just a few minutes, and world-class athletes will be gunning to set new records and qualify for the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. Unfortunately, MB12 doesn't own the exclusive rights to broadcast the relays, nor were we granted accreditation to cover the event. But of course, we will have all the highlights from the games as they are made available to us in another newscast. Well, thank goodness for a cold front that has cooled things down a little over the past few days. But if you've thought it's been really hot out lately, then you're right. In fact, the month of April set a new heat record, shattering a 17-year record. Jasmine Brown has the story.
While the Bahamas is typically known for its hot temperatures, it turned out this week it was even hotter than usual. Meteorologist Wayne Neely says this April has been the hottest in recorded Bahamian history. A record was set on Sunday when temperatures rose to 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The previous April record was 91.4 degrees.
If you're feeling hot, you definitely if you felt hot this week and last week, you definitely weren't wrong.
And just in case you're wondering if it's gotten progressively hotter in recent years, it has. The hottest ever temperature recorded since 1981 was in June 1998, when 97.7 degrees was recorded. The second hottest day on record was in July, when temperatures rose to 96.8 degrees. That was followed closely by August with 96.6 degrees and May with 95.5 degrees. Rounding off the top 5 was September with 95.4 degrees.
Last year we also had the warmest on record, and the year before that was the second warmest on record. So.
Meantime, the extreme heat, which feels even hotter because of humidity, is rather unusual for April, says Neely. But a ridge of high pressure and weak winds are propelling the most recent wave of scorching heat.
That bodes well for temperature to rise significantly higher. Once you have stronger winds, it's going to inhibit temperature from getting at its maximum potential.
And even though summer is still a few months away, Neely says the early start does not necessarily mean the Bahamas is in for a scorching June, July, and August. However, to beat the heat, he says staying inside as much as possible is the best option. And for those who want to enjoy the outdoors, Neely says it's vital to stay hydrated. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.